Welcome to NTD Evening News. Our top story tonight, the Trump administration is ramping up efforts to combat illegal immigration across the country. The White House is zeroing in on cities and states from Chicago to Massachusetts and Georgia. Arian Pasdar has a roundup. Two guests join us to unpack the major developments from the White House last week in countering our adversaries and what to make of that hot mic moment during China's military parade. Is the root of depression and anxiety hiding in nutrition? A doctor reveals how biochemistry could drive mental health challenges. And over in the Czech Republic, dozens of hot air balloons took to the skies, soaring across the land in a burst of color. Find out if this year's gathering set a new record.
This is NTD Evening News, live from our global headquarters in New York City.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Tiffany Meyer. The Trump administration ramps up efforts to crack down on illegal immigration. President Trump plans to deploy troops to Chicago, while authorities also increase operations in Massachusetts and at a Hyundai plant in Georgia. NTD's Arian Pasdar has more.
We're not going to war. We're going to clean up our cities. We're going to clean them up so they don't kill 5 people every weekend. That's not war. That's common sense.
President Trump on Sunday defending his plan to deploy the National Guard to Chicago. On Saturday, Trump made this post, reading, "I love the smell of deportations in the morning. Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War." Trump recently signed an executive order changing the name from the Department of Defense to the Department of War. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker responded to Trump's post, saying the President of the United States is threatening to go to war with an American city. This is not a joke. This is not normal. But Trump now clarifies that it's not a war declaration, pointing to the high rate of homicides in Chicago.
You know how many people were killed in Chicago last weekend? 8. You know how many people were killed in Chicago the week before? 7. You know how many people were wounded? 74 people were wounded. You think there's worse than that? I don't think so.
Some people in Chicago are protesting Trump's plan to deploy the National Guard. Protesters in downtown Chicago on Saturday carried signs such as "Abolish ICE" and "No Trump, no troops." Immigration efforts are also increasing in Massachusetts. A Homeland Security spokesperson told CNN on Sunday that ICE launched Patriot 2.0 to target the worst of the worst criminal illegal aliens living in the state of Massachusetts, following the success of Operation Patriot in May. The statement says sanctuary policies in Boston attract violent criminals to the city. And in Georgia, federal agents on Thursday detained almost 500 people at a site where Hyundai manufactures electric vehicles. Most of the individuals are from South Korea. Homeland Security says most have overstayed their tourist visas. On Sunday, a South Korean official reportedly said the country plans to charter a flight to bring 300 of its citizens back home. And South Korea's foreign minister now reportedly plans to travel to the US to meet with Trump administration officials. Arian Pasdar, NTD News.
We're now at the end of the first week since lawmakers returned to Washington. They're working on bills to fund the government and an investigation into the Epstein files. We have updates on where it all stands, and we'll recap the most significant moments of an RFK Jr. hearing. NTD's Melina Weiskup reports.
A fiery hearing took center stage on Capitol Hill this week. HHS Secretary RFK Jr. answered questions from lawmakers who raised concerns about his shakeup at the CDC.
We were lied to about everything. We were lied to about natural immunity. We were lied to about, we were told again and again the vaccines would prevent transmission, they'd prevent infection. It wasn't true.
He's fired several expert members from a vaccine advisory panel and former CDC Director Susan Menares.
I need to fire some of those people to make sure this doesn't happen again.
Did you, in fact, do what Director Menares said you did, which is tell her to just go along with vaccine recommendations, even if she didn't think such recommendations aligned with scientific evidence?
No, I did not say that to her.
At several moments during the hearing, Democrats sparred with the secretary. Some Republicans, too, expressed concerns.
You promised to uphold the highest standards for vaccines. Since then, I've grown deeply concerned. The public has seen measles outbreaks.
amid calls to resign from Democrats and some 1,000 former and current HHS employees. President Trump described Kennedy as different while reassuring his support for the secretary.
But if you look at what's going on in the world with health and look at this country also with regard to health, I like the fact that he's different.
Meanwhile, over in the House, lawmakers approved two key measures. The first, to tackle the Chinese Communist Party's role in the fentanyl crisis.
The CCP gave monetary grants and awards to companies openly trafficking illicit fentanyl materials and other synthetic narcotics.
The bill would place sanctions on Chinese producers of synthetic opioids and opioid precursors used to make deadly fentanyl. It passed with overwhelming support from Republicans and Democrats. Also on the House floor, a separate resolution addressing the Epstein files.
To support the subpoenas that the committee's doing, to go even further than others want to go at getting that information out to the public, including going after the estate of Jeffrey Epstein.
Though critics say Republican leaders aren't going far enough.
Less than 1% of these files have been released.
Democrats and a few Republicans want to directly require the DOJ to release all files. On another note, a bipartisan group of lawmakers is pushing for a congressional stock trading ban. This issue has been on the table for quite some time. Several lawmakers from both parties have pushed legislation that would ban lawmakers from trading stock. The newest one was introduced by Republican Congressman Chip Roy and Democrat Congressman Sept Magaziner.
That's not why people sent us here to Washington.
There are those who are determined to root out corruption and those who are wedded to the status quo. And the status quo has been in effect for far too long.
Meanwhile, lawmakers are racing the clock to fund the government before an end-of-the-month deadline. The negotiations will be tough. Republicans are pursuing spending cuts, and Democrats are railing against President Trump's recent request to cut another $4.9 billion from foreign aid. Reporting from Washington, D.C., Melina Weiskup, NTD News.
Earlier today, President Trump attended the 2025 U.S. Open men's final in Flushing Meadows, New York. The match was between Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz at Arthur Ashe Stadium. This marked the president's first appearance at the tournament since 2015 and also makes him the first sitting U.S. president to attend the U.S. Open since Bill Clinton in 2000. The White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, Attorney General Pam Bondi, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, Special Administration Envoy Steve Witkoff, and Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt also attended. When Trump appeared on the Jumbotron, some fans cheered, with others booed. The United States Tennis Association asked broadcasters like ESPN to avoid showing negative reactions from the crowd. Enhanced security caused some delays and pushed the match start time to 2:30 p.m. The Houthi terrorist group is claiming responsibility for an attack drones that hit an airport in Israel, injuring 2 people. Meanwhile, Israel says that 100,000 people have now left the Gaza Strip. NTD's Jason Perry has the details.
On Sunday, shattered glass covered the floor of an arrivals terminal at an airport in Israel. According to Israel's Airports Authority, an attack drone that was launched from Yemen hit the Ramon airport, and officials said 2 people were injured by the shrapnel. The Houthi terrorist group in Yemen, over 1,000 miles away, claimed responsibility for the attack. The Houthis have said their attacks against Israel are in support of Palestinians in the war in the Gaza Strip. Israeli forces said they intercepted multiple drones that were launched from Yemen, and the drone that hit the airport was detected, but it was not intercepted because it was not classified as a, quote, hostile drone. Israel's airport was shut down for about 2 hours after the attack, but is now back up and running. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israeli troops had established an additional humanitarian corridor in the Gaza Strip to help residents evacuate.
In the meantime, about 100,000 people have left Gaza. Hamas is trying to do everything to prevent them from leaving and to remain there so that they can serve as a human shield for them. We only recently saw that it shoots women and children in the legs and, if necessary, shoots them.
On the other hand, Israel said they warned civilians to get out of harm's way before Israeli forces struck this building in Gaza City. Israel said they would be striking several buildings in Gaza City that are reportedly being used for terrorist activity. Also on Sunday, President Trump on Truth Social gave a warning to Hamas, saying, Everyone wants the hostages home. Everyone wants this war to end. The Israelis have accepted my terms. It is time for Hamas to accept as well. This is my last warning. There will not be another one. Meanwhile, the mother of a hostage recently saw her son in a Hamas video.
I want to hug him again and make sure that he's safe in my arms and he's safe in this country. And I miss him. I just want to see him.
48 hostages are being held in the Gaza Strip, 20 of whom are believed to still be alive. Jason Perry, NTD News.
Powerball jackpot winners across 2 states will have to share the second largest winnings in Powerball history after they both chose the winning numbers. The 2 winning ticket holders in Texas and Missouri will have to decide how to collect an almost $1.8 billion jackpot prize. They both chose the same set of numbers that came up in the Powerball drawing. The amount they actually receive will vary based on the amount of payments they are willing to wait for. They can each receive an almost $9 million payout stretched over 29 years, or they can each go for an immediate lump sum of over $410 million. The identity of the winners has not been released. The Texas ticket was sold at a convenience store. It's not known where the Missouri ticket was sold. The largest Powerball jackpot was won in 2022 in California at over $2 billion. Coming up, 2 guests join us to unpack major developments from the White House last week, encountering our adversaries, and what to make of that hot mic moment during China's military parade. And is the root of depression and anxiety hiding in nutrition? A doctor reveals how biochemistry could drive mental health challenges. Find out more in just a minute, right after this quick break.
Discover the ancient secret to vitality and longevity with Puretang Black Ginseng. Crafted from premium 6-year-old Korean ginseng, each root is carefully nurtured for over 2,260 days, undergoing a traditional 9-round handcrafted process of steaming and drying to unlock full potency and absorption. Experience pure natural energy with Puretang Black Ginseng. Order now at puretang.com.
With almost 4 decades in the spotlight, Cindy Crawford has never lost her stunning glow. With her gorgeous, age-defying skin, US Weekly says, whatever she's doing, it's clearly working. How does her skin still look firm, smooth, and youthful at 58? It's meaningful beauty. And now, with new advanced formulas, it's better than ever, delivering our age-defying ingredients even deeper into the skin to fight wrinkles where they begin. Just wait until you see the difference meaningful beauty can make for you.
Instant hydration, instant plumping. My skin looks amazing. What I'm most proud of is over 5 million women have trusted Meaningful Beauty, and they're getting great results, and I get that feedback from them in airports, supermarkets, walking down the street, and I love it.
And today, we are celebrating 20 years of Meaningful Beauty with a brand new offer you don't want to miss. You can get the entire advanced Meaningful Beauty system with all 5 age-defying super treatments. And when you order today, you'll receive our Targeted Treatment Duo, a $128 value free. Introducing the Wrinkle Smoothing Capsules to target crow's feet, forehead lines, and lines around your mouth. Plus, you'll also get the new Skin Renewing Facial Tool with heat, massage, and red light to boost the absorption of the wrinkle smoothing capsules and reduce the appearance of puffiness. The Skin Renewing Facial Tool and the Wrinkle Smoothing Capsules together create Meaningful Beauty's amazing targeted treatment duo.
This plus this equals incredible results.
Get all this, a $300 value, for just $49.95. But you must act quickly. Results guaranteed or your money back.
If you haven't tried Meaningful Beauty yet, this new offer is something you don't want to miss.
This special offer is not available in any store, so don't wait. Scan the code, call the number below, or go to meaningfulbeauty.com right now.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Welcome back. I'm Tiffany Meyer. Major developments from the White House last week, from a department name change, a war on drugs, to calling out adversaries for conspiring against the U.S. And reactions are still pouring in after a hot mic moment during China's military parade, putting crimes against humanity back in the spotlight. Here to unpack all of this are two guests: retired Lieutenant Colonel Darren Gobb, a former Black Hawk helicopter pilot, former battalion commander, and author of Veritas Vincit, and Kay Rubacek, producer of the documentary Hard to Believe. Thank you both so much for being here. Now, Darren, a big name change as the Department of Defense has referred it to the Department of War. How does a name like Department of War fit in with the peace through strength strategy?
Well, this is interesting, going back in history to just after World War II and renaming it to what it was. And of course, it was changed to Department of Defense because the entire mission of our military is supposed to be to defend our nation from our adversaries wherever they may be, even in our own homeland if needs be. So to me, I understand the reasoning behind why Trump said he wanted to do this, and I suspect there will be some congressional action on it. But if I had like 50 priorities of things that I wanted to fix in the Department of Defense, this is not what I would put in the top 50 things. There are some critical things that need to be addressed first, but that's up to the Secretary of Defense, not necessarily directly the president so much. So we'll see if they remain focused on those priorities. But as far as the name change is concerned, ultimately, I'm really indifferent to it for the most part.
Now, Kay, this does come on the heels of the military parade in China, where both Russia's Putin and North Korea's Kim Jong-un joined Xi Jinping. Talk to us about the broader significance here. How is China likely to read this name change?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because we've just had the military parade earlier this year in the US, and there was controversy about that. And then here China puts on its largest military parade in history, apparently. Now, how are they are projecting something, a very clear message to the US. Is it in response to the US military parade? It could be, but they've probably been planning this for a long time. The CCP does often change names with the intention of using language to really put a very clear message out there. So I think maybe the US is learning some of the strategies that names do matter. But I think in terms of China, what they are doing, they're already on a trajectory that, with or without a name change, I think they're still taking those steps ahead.
And speaking of that military parade in China, there was a hot mic moment picking up China and Russia's leaders discussing organ transplants as a way to live longer. Now, that is as the CCP has been conducting forced organ harvesting from prisoners of conscience. And Kay, you actually have a documentary on this topic of forced organ harvesting called Hard to Believe. Talk to us about that and your reaction to this hot mic moment.
Well, I think my reaction is like most people. It's visceral. It's horrifying to think that these dictators are prioritizing two things. They're prioritizing their own personal longevity as dictators over every other problem that their citizens in the world faces. But the fact that they are willingly and complicit in the crime of forced organ harvesting, because what they actually said through the translator was that not just living healthily and increasing their lives, but actually Putin said human organs can be continuously transplanted. The longer you live, the younger you can become, and you can even achieve immortality. And Xi Jinping agreed with this, saying that people could live up to 150 years old. And we know through investigations that I've done and others have done, and with the recent passing through the House of Representatives of the Stop Forced Organ Harvesting Act, we know that China is complicit in killing innocent prisoners for the sale of their organs. And we've known for years that it is the top officials that are first in line for those organs, and they're willing to pay a high price. That was caught on the hot mic, and as shocking as it is, we've known for at least 10 years that to be the case.
And Darren, House Speaker Mike Johnson telling NTD in response to the hot mic moment, quote, "It tells you where their worldview is in contrast to ours." What can we draw from these comments about the CCP's worldview?
Well, that human life is expendable to them. Even though trying to extend certain people's lives, they're certainly willing to expend other people's lives in order to achieve what they're looking at through forced organ harvesting. Plus, of course, there are all those who are just simply profiteers that are seeking to make money off the basically the torture and murder of human beings as if they're a commodity versus the inherent value of life that we have. The other lesson we should take from this as Americans is the fact that this idea of extending human life through longevity research is on the shores of America as well too. Where I live in Montana, just passed a law this last legislative session that I was heavily opposed to that basically opened us up to massive infusions of hedge funds money to experiment on human beings to extend their life. Difference being, of course, this is supposedly voluntary versus forced organ harvesting. Can't compare the two necessarily, but we do need to be careful and watch these kinds of things closely here as well.
And Kay, Congress is still working on legislation to hold China accountable for its human rights abuses. Now, we did see Congress last week pass the Stop Chinese Fentanyl Act with overwhelming bipartisan support. Talk to us about how fentanyl or drug warfare fits in with China's use of unrestricted warfare.
I think that's a word we do not hear enough of. We need to be hearing that term unrestricted warfare and really cement that in our minds that this is how the CCP operates. It is not, they are not looking at us as an evil level playing field. They are willing to use any and all methods and weapons to win a long game war that they have had in place for many decades already. And it's too easy for us to be taken advantage of because we generally, they look at us here in America and they say, I've had former CCP officials say to me in interviews, "You Americans are too kind. You don't understand evil." And I think in some ways they are right, is that we think of unrestricted warfare, but we're still thinking within our own framework of, well, we just might push a boundary here or there. But to them, that means absolutely no boundaries, no limits, to the point where they are willing to kill innocent people. And we're talking the average age of 28 being killed for their organs. We're not talking about people that have had a good life and maybe near the end of their life. No, we're talking about young human beings here. So this is completely unrestricted warfare, and we really need to understand what that means from their point of view, not just from our point of view.
And Darren, when it comes to drug warfare, we've seen the U.S. ramp up a war on drugs since Inauguration Day. Last week, even taking out a Venezuelan ship headed to the U.S. said to be carrying drugs. Now, supporters say this is a necessary escalation. Critics worry this is looking more like a real war than a law enforcement operation. How are you viewing all of this?
Well, the first thing is the most valuable thing to come out of this, besides the actual destruction of the drugs and the 11 people who were on board that ship, is the video itself that is getting shared worldwide. It's a message to those who would take part in this kind of action that the gloves are off, because frankly, it is aptly described as a drug war, and we have to treat it as such. Just like Kay mentioned very accurately, that we have to know what unrestricted warfare means to the Chinese. To call this a drug war is more accurate than to call it something else. And we have to be able to take our own gloves off and be that powerful northern neighbor to some of these nations and just say, knock it off. If you keep coming, we will keep blowing up everything that's coming at our border, whether it be by land or sea or air.
Well, Darren Gobb, Kay Rubacek, thank you both so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coming up, is the root of depression and anxiety hiding in nutrition? A doctor reveals how biochemistry could drive mental health challenges. And over in the Czech Republic, dozens of hot air balloons took to the skies, soaring across the land in a burst of color. Find out if this year's gathering set a new record in just a minute, right after this quick break.
We come from a long line of farmers, and there's a sense of pride with being part of these multi-generational businesses. But there's also a significant amount of pressure. My senior year of high school, my dad made the decision that this world no longer needed him in it. I don't know if he was overwhelmed by the bills and checks that weren't going to be coming in because of the strawberries dying off, but it breaks my heart that my dad made a permanent decision for a temporary issue. Don't feel like you have to go through it alone.
Farmers have to take care of their physical and their mental health, because what's a farm without a farmer?
In the mornings, that's my time. Watching the sun come up, I can have a cup of coffee and exercise if I want to. It helps me start the day with a sense of gratitude.
Yay!
Every day is a new opportunity. Don't forget to check in on yourself. Love, your mind.
Baby, you see, you're so right for me, and I'm right for you. I love the things you do, like sweet tasting wine. Your lips are so divine. Your loving turns me on. My lonely days are gone. That's why I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never gonna let you go. No, no, never gonna let you go. Baby, never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Never gonna let you go.
You see certain things get reincarnated in your children. My daughter is very much inspired by my wife's artistic pursuits. So my daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops. My dad wasn't around, and I remember riding a bike and falling off and cutting myself, and me never just wanted to get back on it. People ask, how your children learn how to ride a bike, and you didn't. I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
Welcome back. I'm Tiffany Meyer. Now we have a story about NTD's very own Natasha Holt, a recent University of Florida graduate who interned with NTD last year. Holt clinched 2 SPJ Sunshine Awards from the Florida chapter of the Society of Professional Journalists. Holt received the awards in Fort Lauderdale last night. She won the Multimedia Feature Award for her piece on researchers protecting endangered sea turtles during Florida's hurricane season. Her second award in the video category highlighted a unique tradition on Chincoteague Island where wild pony shows raise funds for the local volunteer fire department. Holt says it was a great honor to receive the recognition for her work at NTD, that she cares deeply about both topics, and that she's grateful to share these uplifting stories with the world. She also said it's refreshing to contribute to NTD and its sister media, the Epoch Times, where neutrality, accuracy, fairness, and balance are highly valued. Holt's mom, Nanette, who is a journalist with the Epoch Times, says she's proud of her daughter and her commitment to the journalistic principles, which today's world desperately needs. The SPJ, dedicated to ethical journalism, evaluated nearly 1,000 entries for the Sunshine State Awards. Holt recently graduated from the University of Florida with a journalism degree specializing in broadcast news and with a focus on political science. She's now aiming for a law degree to further her media career. Could a hidden nutritional deficiency be driving anxiety, depression, and other mental disorders? In this episode of Vital Signs, Dr. Jingduan Yang, psychiatrist and expert in integrative and Chinese medicine, joins Brendan Fallon to explain how identifying and addressing biochemical imbalances may be key to treating mood disorders.
Many dealing with chronic anxiety, depression, and even conditions like bipolar and schizophrenia
pass through a treatment funnel of sorts before arriving at something that brings relief. For some, their needs are met at the top of the funnel through mainstream offerings like antidepressants and psychotherapy. Others go deeper into the funnel, perhaps over the course of years, before arriving at fringe ways of understanding mental distress and treating it that bring relief. Advanced or targeted nutrient therapy is one such fringe dweller treatment that is bringing relief to many, especially those with severe anxiety, depression, mood swings, and other mental distress caused by loss of zinc, vitamin B6, and other key nutrients. In short, these people have pyrrole disorder or pyroluria, and it's often mistaken for major depression, bipolar disorder, and in some cases even schizophrenia. Returning guest Dr. Jing Duanyang has seen strong results treating patients with pyrrole disorder and related nutrient imbalances. Board certified in psychiatry and integrative medicine, Dr. Young's treatment system encompasses modern medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, including acupuncture, and other modalities. Welcome to Vital Signs, where we learn how to get healthier from all angles, from the biochemical and nutritional to the things we do that nourish our minds and our souls. I'm Brendan Fallon. Dr. Young, always great to have you join us on Vital Signs.
Thank you for having me, Brendan.
Before we start talking about pyrrole disorder, I'd like to go a little broader and look at mental health and how it relates to nutrient deficiency or excess in general. In terms of anxiety, in your practice as a psychiatrist and integrative medicine doctor, how often would you say that in terms of anxiety, nutrient deficiency or excess is relevant?
Well, I would say it is a fundamental factor. And anybody who went through medical school and studied biochemistry know that everything the brain produce, actually the body produce, involves the cofactors, involves enzymes, involves a lot of biochemical components that we call them nutrients. That actually is biochemicals of the human body. And therefore, for example, in the process of neurotransmitter production, you involve the biochemical process called methylation, for example. And this entire methylation cycles involves vitamins, minerals, and amino acids, and even fatty acids. So those are, we call them a nutrient. To me, they are biochemical medicine. So if you ask me, anybody who suffers from depression, anxiety, or anything that involves body or brain, when we look at biochemical level, we have to look at nutrients.
Could you give an example, Dr. Young, in terms of a chronic mental illness where a nutrient solution could bring significant relief?
So going back to the topic you were trying to set up for our audience about the cryptopyrrole disorder, again, for audience, you may not know what cryptopyrrole is. Let's start by explaining what it is. It's actually a metabolite from the hemoglobin. You know, our red blood cell dies every 120 days. So every time the body will break them down, and some of the metabolites, like the cryptopyrrole, which is harmless, useless, just will leave your body through urine. Okay, so most of us will be fine. We produce certain amount of it and it will leave our body. We're not even aware of its existence. That's why you never heard about it. However, there are certain population, for whatever reason we may not always know fundamentally, they're producing larger quantity of cryptopyrrole. In other words, every time they pee, they get rid of a more cryptopyrrole than average people. Why is that a problem? Because cryptopyrrole, as we know, is harmless, useless. You know, to get rid of more or less, it should be okay. But the one reason it is not okay, because the cryptopyrrole binds very tightly with vitamin B6 and zinc.
To see that full interview and others on how to optimize health, go to ept.ms/vital signs. Vital Signs offers general health information not intended as medical diagnosis or advice. Please consult your doctor before undertaking a new health regimen.
And you may want to check your refrigerator and freezer. A salmonella outbreak has been linked to some home delivery meals. The selected meals were made by Metabolic Meals and were delivered during the week of July 28th. According to the CDC, 16 people across 10 states have fallen ill, including 7 who had to be hospitalized. No deaths have been reported. The The affected meals are the 4-cheese tortellini, low-carb chicken teriyaki and chickens, black garlic and ranch chicken tenders, and sliced top sirloin with roasted peanut sauce and summer vegetables. Customers should throw out the affected meals. Metabolic Meals is reaching out to customers directly who purchased the meals. Long workdays often mean long hours of sitting, raising the risk of chronic health issues. NTD's Daniel Monahan spoke with VIP trainer Tommy Akande about how to stay flexible and mobile at the office or while working from home. Watch.
Tommy Akande says there are simple exercises you can do without leaving your desk.
If you have like a resistance band, for example, you can literally just pull it out and up. And it's quite good because when we sit at our desks, we tend to hunch over. But if you actually get a resistance band and you pull it this way, up and over, it really opens you up. And so instead of having that nodding head syndrome, your head actually tends to stay up. But you're also working your chest and your arms at the same time.
Try sitting on a medicine ball instead of an office chair while at work.
Your core has to be engaged and it has to be activated. And it naturally forces you to sit up straight. And then your legs are also working because they're in that position, so they're actually engaged at the same time.
That elevator may seem easier, but Akande says you're missing out on a great workout.
I always say to people, if you have stairs at work, take the stairs instead of the lift, because not just you're increasing your lung capacity and overall health, that's amazing for that. Also, you hit your 10,000 steps. But if you do take the stairs and you go up every 2 flights, you're now engaging your quads and your glutes. When you do that, you're burning more muscles over time, so you're actually getting stronger, but you're also losing, if you want to lose weight, you're actually burning extra calories.
With an average 8-hour workday, you can break up the time with many short sessions to stay active.
I think I watched a study recently with Pavlov and Huberman, and he said it's actually better to do little workouts throughout the day instead of one big one. So maybe once an hour, you've got to walk up, stretch your legs. If you go into the kitchen, do 8 squats in there. You can even do a wall sit. A wall sit is perfect. It's basically like a squat, but you put your whole trunk against the wall and you squat all the way down till your hips and your knees are parallel to the floor. And you just hold that for like 30 seconds. So it's basically a plank for your lower body.
Even at a counter, you can fit in a standing plank.
So it's this exercise is called a vacuum, and it works your core and your back at the same time. And as you're literally standing anywhere, standing, sitting, take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, you pull your core, like your belly button, in all the way, as in pretending you're trying to get it all the way to the back of the spine. And then you just hold that for maybe like 10 to 20 seconds. And that you can do any time.
Akande says standing up once an hour, walking around and mixing in small stretches can have a major impact on your health and keep you feeling great. Daniel Monahan, NTD News.
Turning to the latest from Silicon Valley, Apple is readying for its annual iPhone launch tradition. The latest model, iPhone 17, is slated to be unveiled this Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Since 2011, Apple has consistently held major product launch events in September to unveil new iPhone models. The predictable schedule typically falls on a Tuesday or Wednesday in early to mid-September. Pre-orders open for the new devices roughly a week later. It's become a hallmark of Apple's marketing strategy, generating significant buzz and consumer anticipation every year. Coming up, tiny engravings decorate Paris, made by one artist with a vision. His goal, using art to bring people together. And over in the Czech Republic, dozens of hot air balloons took to the skies, soaring across the land in a burst of color. Find out if this year's gathering set a new record in just a minute, right after this quick break.
Is deep sea fish oil really healthy? Due to pollution in the oceans, most fish contain heavy metal elements and radioactive substances. That's why it's so important to choose a pure source of omega-3. Puritan Green Vegetable Omega-3 is made from purslane and perilla seeds, which are rich in nutrients and minerals. It effectively improves brain power and is beneficial to the heart's health. Puritan Green Vegetable Omega-3. Eat 2 a day and you'll feel brand new.
Food. It fuels our bodies, nourishes our spirits, and brings us together. Because we all need nutritious food to thrive.
Food gives me energy and it also helps me focus.
But not everyone knows where their next meal is coming from. And 1 in 7 people in America face hunger. It's tougher than ever for too many of us. But the simple truth is, ending hunger is possible, and it starts with you. Call or go online to helpfeedingamerica.org and give $19 a month, just 63 cents a day, to help families in your community facing hunger. Feeding America works from coast to coast with partner food banks, food pantries, and meal programs. Your monthly gift delivers food where it's needed most, puts fresh food on the table, and helps kids have healthy meals all year round, even when school is out.
You can see the difference with the kids when they're full. Food is everything.
Please call the number on your screen or go online to helpfeedingamerica.org. Give $19 a month. Your first gift can double an impact. And we'll send you this free canvas grocery bag as a reminder of how you're helping to end hunger for good.
When it comes down to it, it's about taking care of your family first and the loved ones that you need to provide for.
Food donations help me tremendously, and I'm very grateful for the food bank.
I have hope. The simple truth is, ending hunger in America is possible. You can help make it happen. The need is urgent. Call or go online now to helpfeedingamerica.org, and your gift can double in impact.
Big things are happening at Mathis Home. Come in now for 65th anniversary savings all over the store. Like this oversized sofa in an ultra soft fabric with thick premium gel cushions and 5 throw pillows. Anniversary priced at just $9.99. That's an incredible value. Just one of over 100 great sofas in stock and ready for you to enjoy tonight with fast and easy financing and free delivery. Don't miss out on 65th anniversary savings happening now at your furniture superstore, Mathis Home.
Welcome back. I'm Tiffany Meyer. Moon watchers around the world are in for a treat this weekend, but it depends which hemisphere you're located in. A total lunar eclipse will be visible tonight for folks living in Europe, Asia, Africa, and Australia. A lunar eclipse happens when the Earth passes directly between the sun and the moon. The Earth's movement casts a shadow on the moon and causes the moon to appear red. This is known as a blood moon. People in North America will have to wait until March of next year to view a total lunar eclipse. At the same time, a different lunar event is taking place globally. A full moon will be visible this weekend, and this September event is known as a corn moon. It got its nickname to reflect the season for harvesting corn. A scientific mission in Uruguay is now exploring and live streaming the depths of the ocean. That comes after a similar mission off the coast of Argentina that captivated millions of viewers. Here's more.
This is the ship everyone is talking about these days around this part of South America.
Sí, creo que todos pensamos lo mismo.
It first went viral for producing scientific images like this unique-looking starfish in Argentina. And now it's reaching the depth of the Uruguayan maritime continental margin in the Atlantic Ocean, reaching the hearts of children and also adults. They say they are very, very excited about the mission. For once, it was not soccer or politics what captivated Uruguayans.
Buenos días a todos. Estamos teniendo las primeras imágenes en alta definición de los fondos marinos uruguayos.
In Argentina, a starfish similar to Patrick, the character from SpongeBob, became popular. Now Uruguayans are finding their own characters.
Un cangrejo murguista. Después apareció un pez haciendo el moonwalk de Michael Jackson y encontraron una estrella de mar con fiebre de sábado por la noche.
Uruguayan residents from a part of their territory until now unexplored.
Lo que ocurre en la oscuridad vamos a develar.
We are looking to reveal life in the darkness, life without sun, they say.
De ahí salen las imágenes esas en 4K.
The ROV Sebastian is the star of the moment. This remotely operated vehicle of the Schmidt Ocean Institute is connected to this ship, the Falcor 2, with a cable that transmits energy and information. It has 4K cameras, lights, sensors, and arms to collect samples.
Esos bracitos se maneja con esto.
Marine flora and fauna, from cold water corals or a walking starfish, to the regrettable presence of plastic pollution.
Sí, parece una bolsa, ¿no?
As it heads to the 6 Uruguayan oceanic canyons, the ROV sends images to excite and teach a whole generation. And it also collects samples that will inform future generations. This is a milestone for the country and the region.
A weightlifting contest unlike any other, massive lily pads face off for the title of strongest plant. While back at the lab, scientists say they've created glow-in-the-dark houseplants. Here's a closer look.
Watch Botanical Gardens staff members crown a water lily weightlifting champion. Oh yes, it is a thing. Certain species of aquatic water lily leaves can grow up to an incredible 10 feet in diameter, and thanks to a dense network of radiating ribs and cross veins on their underside, these prodigious pads can also hold an impressive amount of weight. So impressive that staff at the Denver Botanic Gardens started an annual water lily weigh-off contest, challenging public gardens, zoos, and universities worldwide to load up their lilies to the point just before the burly botanicals buckle. Dozens of institutions participated, but in the end it was Bok Tower Gardens from Florida that took the top honors with a lily load of 183 pounds, edging out the reigning champ by a mere 1 pound. Bok Tower Gardens staff members took to social media to celebrate, literally standing tall on one of their winning weightlifting water lilies. Well, now they're just showing off. Here's some more plant-based news you may find illuminating. Scientists have created glow-in-the-dark houseplants they say can recharge with sunlight. A new study published in the scientific journal Matter says researchers injected succulents with a liquid compound fueled by strategically sized phosphor particles similar to those used in glow-in-the-dark toys. And just like those toys, the study showed the succulents didn't just shine, but could re-illuminate after exposure to sunlight. They even created an impressive wall of 56 gleaming plants they say was bright enough to read by. More research is needed to study the long-term effects on the plants, but the team says this simple and low-cost process could help pave the way for sustainable plant-based lighting systems.
Art has the power to bring people together, and that's exactly what one French street artist is trying to do. But unlike many others, he has a unique idea when it comes to his choice of canvas: broken sections of wall in Paris.
De glisser des petits détails artistiques.
Slipping little artistic details into places that aren't necessarily meant for them, like close to the ground, keeps me motivated. I love the idea that it might resonate with someone too.
Que ça puisse toucher quelqu'un.
Collecting pieces of broken wall, engraving them with meaningful designs, then gluing them back into their original places. This painter and engraver is known for his large-scale mandalas and murals, but he's been bringing his artwork to streets across Paris in a new way since April. In just a few months, his work has received nearly 100,000 followers across different social media platforms, highlighting the positive response to his work. Speaking about how he got the idea, he said he hopes to call for solidarity among people through art. That's despite hardships and ongoing conflicts happening around the world. And summer is coming to a close, and that means it's time to break out the sweaters and pumpkin spice lattes. It's also the best time to look forward to the fall foliage. Let's take a look at some of the best places in the U.S. to spot them and when.
The end of summer means the vibrant green leaves will soon transition to the warm hues of orange, yellow, and red, turning mountain ranges into mosaics of fall colors.
It's a really great opportunity to just get yourself outdoors, look at something beautiful.
Brett Keller is the CEO of Priceline. The travel site recently came out with a list of the best places for leaf peeping this year, and clocking in at number 1 was the Hudson Valley region in New York.
We typically look at accommodation trends, and we also are able to understand how far away those consumers are from those accommodations.
These radiant colors generate a lot of green for local economies. In Vermont alone, the state estimates the fall foliage brings in around $1 billion in visitor spending.
It is a major driver of our tourism industry.
William Keaton is a professor at the University of Vermont. He says there are a variety of factors as to why some areas experience more vibrant colors than other regions. One being the vast contrast between temperatures during the day and at night, the variety of tree species, and the landscape.
Fall foliage is a delicate dance between a number of things, and climate is one of the most important.
This summer brought intense heat and excessive rainfall to parts of the country. Keaton says those extreme weather patterns impact how vibrant the colors will be and when the leaves will begin to change.
These kinds of extremes create stresses in trees. They begin to brown up and drop their leaves sooner than they otherwise would.
Keaton says climate change could also cause the fall foliage season to shorten over time. If you do want to carve out time to see the fall colors, they typically peak in the beginning of October in the Northeast.
And over the Czech Republic, hot air balloons took to the skies, soaring across the land in a burst of color.
Flying really is a great thing because you are in touch with nature. It can recharge you, and it's a form of relaxation in its own way. And even though it may not seem like it to some, it really helps us to keep a bunch of cool people together, and everything you see here, I can say it's like one big family.
The balloon pilot said flying was a way to relax and recharge, adding the meadows and fields around the historic city made for absolutely fantastic flying. The Great Balloon Fiesta set a new record this year when 81 balloons took to the skies at the same time. Balloonists flocked in from as far afield as the Netherlands and Lithuania for the event, with around a third of the crews this year coming from abroad. The vibrant balloons float over the fields and forests surrounding the more than 800-year-old city. And that's all for today's news. For on-the-clock coverage, visit us at ntd.com/live or download our NTD app. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Tiffany Meyer. Good night.